Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Furby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio. This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Hello and welcome to your news at noon right here on Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith. These are the top stories we're tracking. 50 new faces join new cabinet. Finance minister yet to be named. Experts urge Guyanese that regardless of who is in office, demand transparency for oil sector. And Granger and Ramjatan views out new PPP cabinet. Meanwhile, break-in at NISIL SPU office at LBI. 1.6 million cash and checks missing. And now for the news in detail. Leader of the Liberty and Justice Party, Lennox Schumann, is set to occupy the sole parliamentary seat gained by the tripartite joinder in the elections. The parties have written to notify Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield. Schumann represents LJP, the new movement, and a new and united Guyana. LJP had gained the highest number of votes of the three parties, followed by ANAG and then TNM. In other news, the People's Progressive Party Civic's new cabinet has been packed with new faces, many of whom are markedly young. Newly appointed Prime Minister Mark Phillips, as well as the party's veterans, Anil Nandlal, Gail Teixeira, and Bharat Jagdeo, had taken up their posts on the day of President Irfan Ali's swearing in Sunday last. Yesterday saw 19 more appointments. To name a few, the Ministry of Agriculture will be headed by Zulfikar Mustafa. The Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport will be headed by Charles Ramsden Jr. The ministry was under the previous government, placed under the Ministry of the Presidency, and was dubbed Ministry of Social Cohesion, Culture, Youth and Sport. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs appears to have reverted to its name under the PPPC, the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs, and will be headed by Pauline Sukai. Priya Manik Chand has returned to the Ministry of Education, having served in that post under multiple previous PPPC governments. Meanwhile, a finance minister is yet to be named. Now that the PPP government is in place, one of the key matters it will be hurrying to address relates to the country's ill-preparedness to handle the oil industry. As it advances efforts in this regard, international industry experts are urging Guyanese to ensure that they demand transparency and a depoliticized regulatory process for the management of the oil and gas sector. This is according to Dr. Remy Piet, a senior director at America's Market Intelligence, or AMI, and Arthur Deakin, an analyst also at AMI. Both were keen to note that the decisions of the new government will play a fundamental role in how the abundant petrodollars are spent in creating either a resource-dependent or a resource-rich society. In this regard, the oil consultants noted that citizens must ensure policymakers are held accountable and that decisions are made based on the merit of applications, not in the interest of a political party or politician. In other news, the David Granger Kemraj Ramjatan-led APNU-AFC coalition yesterday went on a tirade against the governing PPPC following the appointment of the new cabinet at the Arthur Chung International Conference Center. The coalition made it clear that it sees the appointment as a rubber stamp cabinet under the authoritarian so-called control of Vice President Bharat Jagdeo. The coalition hurled insults at Jagdeo and challenged the legitimacy of the cabinet of President Irfan Ali. See the full statement in today's Kaieteur News. Let's tell you now that police are investigating a break-in at one of the offices of NISL SPU at LBI Estate Compound on the east coast of Demerara. Police sources disclosed that the break-in occurred sometime between 17 hours 50 on Tuesday and 7 hours yesterday. It was disclosed that $1.6 million in cash along with millions worth in checks were reported missing. According to information, police were seen conducting investigations in the compound early yesterday. It was later revealed that someone had broken into a NISL SPU office located in the compound. The office housed key business documents involving NISL SPU. We contacted Rachel Harry, one of the officials in charge of the NISL SPU LBI location, to verify these claims. However, up to press time, the official was still with police investigators. You are tuned into Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM, and this is your news at noon. Coming up after the break, CARICOM chair defends interference in Guyana's political situation. Special team appointed to investigate 19 state agencies, and Attorney General says forensic audits to be done on all COVID spending. Meanwhile, police and army to play bigger role in fight against COVID-19. According to the DCMO, and Minister Edgell says that all contracts will be scrutinized. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. The chairman of CARICOM yesterday defended his position to interfere in the political situation in Guyana. He insisted that it was important for democracy to be maintained in the country. Gonzalez said that after President Ali was sworn in, Gonzalez, had telephoned him to extend congratulations on his victory. Meanwhile, President Irfan Ali has appointed a special technical team to immediately conduct a rapid financial and management assessment into 19 key agencies. Those agencies are GPL, GWI, Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, the Central Housing and Planning Authority, the Guyana Forestry Commission, the Guyana Gold Board, NISL, the Guyana Lands and Survey Commission, the Lotto Fund, the Guyana Energy Agency, the GRDB, the Guyana Oil Company, the Guyana National Shipping Corporation, Go Invest, and Gaisuco. The special technical team comprises Kit Nascimento, Public Communications Consultant, Chartered Accountant and Attorney at Law Christopher Ram, Nigel Hughes, Certified Public Accountant, and Sais Narayan Singh, Financial Consultant. That should be Nigel Hines, my apologies. Additionally, the team will also be conducting a review of the operations, policies and programs of DPI, NCN, Guyana Chronicle, and GNBA. In other news, Attorney General Anil Nandlal has raised concerns about government expenditures during the period of the COVID-19 pandemic, explaining that forensic audits will have to be done to bring the financial accounts of the country up to standard. He stated that the country's finances are, legally speaking, in a state of chaos. He added that since there was no budget, there has been no authorized spending. Parliament was dissolved in December 2019 to facilitate elections. However, in March, former President David Granger had issued an order under the Public Health Ordinance to extend public funds as the government saw it necessary for the effective consolidation of COVID-19. Yet, scrutiny of the government spending has faced several hurdles. The Ocean View COVID-19 hospital, for instance, has received significant attention for the hundreds of millions to build it. That equals to $1.6 billion. Despite the concerns raised, the former government had made no attempt to come clean. Let's tell you now that the joint services are expected to play a more prominent role in the planning and execution of the national strategy to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic. The increased role of the Army and the police at the level of the National Task Force on COVID-19 was on Monday highlighted during the first meeting between the newly elected President Irfan Ali and the members of the health team. During the discussion, Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. Karen Boyle highlighted the issue among those in need of urgent redress. Let's tell you now that Guyana's newly appointed Public Works Minister Juan Edgel announced that his office will be fully scrutinizing the multi-million-dollar contracts awarded by the previous administration. While he noted that his office will be delving into all of the contracts that were awarded since January 2019 to current, special attention will be paid to those big-name contracts awarded in 2020, where there was no budgetary allocation to capital projects. Stay tuned. Coming up next is your COVID-19 update. The time is now 12 hours 10, time for your COVID-19 update. The number of worldwide coronavirus cases, according to Worldometer, has reached 19,049,908, with deaths at 712,494. Recovery cases has reached 12,227,998. According to the DPI, as of August 5th, 2020, the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Guyana has surpassed the 500 mark. The total now stands at 509, following reports from the Ministry of Public Health that 12 more persons have tested positive for the virus. The ministry has also urged, that should be also reported, that 3 more persons have recovered from the COVID-19 related illnesses to take the total number to 189. Deaths remain at 22. Currently, there are 298 persons, active cases in institutional isolation at various facilities across Guyana, 38 persons in institutional quarantine, and 1 patient housed in the COVID-19 ICU. Meanwhile, after 3 months of the COVID-19 situation in Region 1 spiraling out of control, there are reports of the region being COVID-free. The last reported number of confirmed cases in the region was 102. Of these, 89 cases were from the Maruca sub-district. The regional health officer, Dr. Stephen Chifoon, said that all the confirmed cases have recovered. In other news, Pataro Siparuni Region 8 has recorded 9 COVID-19 cases as of Tuesday, August 4th. 6 of these cases are from Kanapang and are currently isolated, along with 1 case in Madia. 2 other cases identified in Itabak have recovered. Regional Health Officer Dr. Krasundra Abdul said that the identification of the first 3 cases in the region, a series of testing was initiated.